In the shadow of the looming Ural Mountains in Russia's Sverdlovsk Oblast, a group of 9 experienced hikers set out on what should have been a routine trek. It was February 1959, and the group, which included several medical students, planned to ski and snowboard down the mountains before returning to their base camp at the end of the day. They would never make it back. Weeks later, searchers stumbled upon their abandoned campsite, and what they saw defied explanation. The nylon fabric of the hiker's tent had been slashed open from the inside. A violent windstorm would have been capable of such damage, but there was no such storm recorded in the area that weekend. Furthermore, most of the group's belongings were left behind, including their boots and warm clothes, even though temperatures plummeted to around -20 degrees Fahrenheit, around -30 Celsius. Rescuers soon discovered the bodies of the hikers scattered across the snow-covered landscape, all half-dressed and some barefoot. What was even more disturbing was the state of their injuries. 2 of the hikers had crushed ribs and fractured skulls, injuries far too severe to be consistent with a fall, according to doctors who examined the bodies. These were the kind of injuries a person would sustain if they were crushed by a heavy object. Yet there were no such signs or witnesses of an avalanche or rockslide in the area. Adding to the bizarre circumstances surrounding the incident, one of the women was found to be missing her tongue. Her body showed other signs of trauma as well, including a large bruise above her left eyebrow. Traces of radiation were also found on the clothes of one of the men. Although it's unclear whether the radiation was on the clothing at the time of the incident, or if it was contamination from the nuclear fallout of the Soviet Union's first atomic bomb test, which took place about 6 months prior to the incident. There were no animal tracks in the snow around the tent or the bodies, nor were there any footprints leading away, except for the hiker's own. This suggested that they fled their tent in terror and made a mad dash through the freezing cold, but they didn't get very far. All of them died within 200 meters of the tent, with most of the bodies found in a small clearing about 50 meters from the tent. Strangely, several crucial pieces of evidence were never recovered, including the tent, which was too badly damaged to be transported, and some of the personal belongings of the victims. Most of the items that were taken away were later returned to the families of the victims. However, the tent was never given back, and it's unknown what became of it. With so many unanswered questions, it's no surprise that this bizarre incident has spawned countless conspiracy theories. The most popular theory is that the hikers were killed in an avalanche, although there's no evidence to support this claim. Other theories include exposure to dangerous levels of UV radiation, and even an encounter with a UFO. It wasn't until 1991, more than 3 decades after the incident, that the Russian government declassified the case files, finally allowing investigators and researchers to examine the evidence and come up with new theories. A few years later, an expedition funded by a local newspaper claimed to have found the group's tent and some personal belongings near the site of the original camp. These items were never officially authenticated, however, and it's unclear if they actually belonged to the missing hikers. Some researchers have speculated that the group may have been the victims of secret military tests being conducted in the area at the time, while others believe they stumbled upon a restricted military zone and were silenced to prevent leaks of classified information. However, there is no concrete evidence to support either theory. Perhaps the most terrifying theory is that the hikers encountered a creature from folklore known as the man-eater of the Urals, a large, hairy humanoid that preys on humans. There have been numerous reports of Bigfoot-like creatures in the Ural Mountains over the years, and some believe that this is what the Dyatlov group encountered in the snowy wilderness. But the truth is, whatever happened to the Dyatlov Pass hikers remains a mystery to this day. All we know is that 9 experienced hikers went into the mountains and never came out. And while there are many theories, there is no definitive answer. Perhaps some mysteries are best left unsolved. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends. For more chilling tales of mystery and suspense, don't forget to subscribe for more updates. Until next time, stay safe and keep exploring the shadows.